Oh look, part 2 of this disastrous Germanic campaign. As you can see, this is the ambush I left you with last time. Situationally, our Württemberger Kampfgruppe holds the advantage against these filthy Imperials. So, let's get into the battle plan. General Bach deploys his Kampfgruppe in force along this ridge of high ground. Lichte Infanteriedivision to the left, Line Infantry Divisions centre and right, Sechs Bewunderkanone a tad to the rear, and the cavalry divisions on the flanks as standard. Far forward of the line, in cover, is the Schützeninfanterie to harass the Austrian Fusiliers. The rest of the Imperial forces will enter the field of battle roughly around here. Though at the time, General Bach was largely unaware of this fact. However, the deployment was such so that at least part of the Kampfgruppe could turn to face the Austrians, whilst the single Imperial regiment is dealt with and the rest of the Kampfgruppe can get into position to, hopefully, crush the Austrian garrison and field troops. As the battles commenced, Bach ordered the Schützeninfanterie to harass the cut-off Austrians, whilst the right-wing cavalry are ordered to occupy the Imperial forces entering the field of battle, taking advantage of the situation, at least attempting to. All the while, an infantry division is redeploying over to a convenient ridge overlooking the area where the Imperials are entering the field. At the double quick! One of the cavalry units charges headlong into a grenadier regiment in an attempt to get at the artillery. Further to the rear, the other cavalry unit is already engaged with an Austrian cavalry regiment. Realising that continued engagement with the Imperial infantry is futile, they fall back to regroup and rethink. Checking up on the Schützeninfanterie, they are doing a decent enough job, inflicting casualties and drawing fire. However, they attempt to draw the Austrian regiment into a mobile engagement. As one section falls back, the other covers, inflicting more casualties and overall frustrating the enemy. And to hasten the demise of the Austrian regiment, Bach orders the Lichte Infanteriedivision to advance at speed and engage. Supported by the left cavalry wing, the Lichte Infanterie and the Schützen encircle the Austrian regiment. Soon the morale will break and they will flee the field. Later, the rest of the Imperials have entered the field. However, they have left behind most of their cannon. Spotting this, Bach swiftly orders his cavalry into position on hopes to sweep the artillery from the field before the infantry have chance to defend or retaliate. The cavalry managed to get into position without drawing the attention of the Imperial infantry. They charge with devastating effect. The Austrians notice this, and a unit of their Schützen is sent forward. After sending the artillery crewmen to Hades, the cavalry fall back, out of range of the Austrian rifles. Bach's own Schützen pour fire into the Imperial Schützen ranks. Rather interestingly, the Imperial general decides to first dither whilst under fire from the Schützeninfanterie until finally deciding to charge Bach's line and the Lichte Infanteriedivision, and the unit was driven from the field under withering fire. After a few minutes of manoeuvring and smaller firefights, the final series of assaults are ready to go in. Starting with the Lichte and Schützeninfanterie, which has been the main source of combat in the beginnings of the later stages of the engagement. Cornered, their general missing, and regiments beginning to break, the Imperials prepare for the final act. Their remaining cannon begins to volley canister shot into the Württemberger line. Meanwhile, Bach's left-wing cavalry move into position. Unnecessary casualties were averted when the officer leading the regiment spotted stakes left by the Imperial rifles. Seemingly spotting an opening, the other cavalry officer orders a charge at the remaining Austrian cannon battery. The Imperial cannon crew and nearby infantry see the oncoming cavalry, panic and break. The last Imperial regiments form square to repel the Württemberger cavalry. The Lichte Infanterie move in to support the cavalry. However, after the shock of the cavalry charge and after maintained volley fire, the remaining Imperials break and run. Sieg für uns! The victory did not have the desired effect. Worse, an Austrian army appears behind Bach's Kampfgruppe, threatening Stuttgart. Cut off from the capital, Bach considers his options: advance on the larger Imperial army, which will result in heavy casualties, something he and the kingdom can ill afford, or overtake the Imperials and place his Kampfgruppe on the bridge, barring the way to Stuttgart. He elected to place his Kampfgruppe on the bridge, envisioning that he would host his Thermopylae. However, to ensure that he can get there in time, the cannons were left behind, but in cover, so that the enemy have no idea that they were so exposed. In the next turn, the Imperial army moves past a bridge into nearby woodland. Bach has no idea that the Imperials have simply bypassed his position. They had slipped through under his watch. Believing that it was safe to advance back on his original target of the Tyrol region, Bach orders the cannons to link back up with the Kampfgruppe, and the rest of the Kampfgruppe march to battle to take their objective. Though he moved cautiously, expecting the missing Imperial army to be in ambush ahead of him, not knowing that they were behind him, back in Württemberg, ready to assault his kingdom's beating heart. Sensing that something was amiss, or maybe realizing his mistake, Bach calls off the offensive and falls back to the nearest Allied strongpoint, the city of Munich, helpless. And so the forest brings forth a terrible host to lay waste to the petty kingdom of Baden-Württemberg. The city prepares its defences, and the defenders steel themselves for the coming siege. Buoyed by this act, the Prussians declare their hostilities against the petty kingdom, to which the Swiss Confederation seeks no part. A courier reaches Bach's camp. His fears were realised in the ink markings made upon a worthless piece of paper. The Kampfgruppe is immediately ordered to the defence of the capital. Upon seeing the Imperial camp outside the fort guarding the city, relief and sense of duty fills Bach's mind. The only option was to give battle, and with haste. Thank you for joining me in watching another terrible production. After a long while of thinking, I thought instead of making a dedicated narrative series, I would make this series into a semi-narrative thing. Also, the planned schedule was a bad idea since I'm incapable of sticking to it, so videos will come out as they come. However, there are new genres coming, i.e. some ACC content and, if I'm feeling brave, a live stream. But when? Who knows? Anyhow, I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.